PvP tips and tricks. What are some things you can think of off the top of your head that you think might help players in the Destiny 2 beta if they're just getting into it for this weekend?
Some of these are reminders of things that we've talked about a lot. We've been talking lately in episodes about, about the Get Good playlist that we've put together. A couple of episodes we've put together talking about how to get better at PvP. A lot of those are really going to apply well to Destiny 2. A couple of things to remember. Use cover, right? Cover is really helpful, especially because to a certain extent you're a little slower than in Destiny 1 in some ways. And dodging in and out of cover is a fantastic way to stay alive. If you stand and shoot, a lot of times you're going to get team shot and you're going to die. Going along with that, if you're sticking close to cover, you can disengage when you're clearly losing an encounter. The slower time to kill makes this way easier than in Destiny 1. It's very easy to disengage, find a new path, recover your health. You should have time to do that. If you find yourself going down 10, 15, 20 times a match, you need to start recognizing when you're losing a battle and get out of it. By the same token, when you see a teammate losing a firefight, getting team shot, or they go down, don't run out there thinking that you're going to mop up. It's not going to happen. You're going to get team shot and you're going to go down too. Instead, find a different angle. I've been having a lot of success flanking people in control. If you remember, okay, I can disengage, I can find a new angle, I see my teammate go down, I'm not going to go and get myself team shot, I'm going to find a new angle to get on the enemy. That's just kind of basic PvP stuff, but it's good to remember because we're all very distracted by the new and shiny right now. That and the main ingredient, the fusion rifle, is phenomenal.
What I was going to say is try using the Deathstalker. The Deathstalker is that weird auto rifle we're talking about with the alternating rate of fire. Oblong.
I don't know where that came from.
With the alternating rate of fire. Use that. It's actually very, very good. It's got a pretty fast time to kill, but it's super stable and it's got good range before damage fall-off really starts to affect it. The Nightshade Pulse Rifle is exceptional. It's got a damage boosting perk where after you kill someone and reload, it does an easy three burst kill, which is very, very fast, like Hawksaw level fast from D1.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, it is the Hawksaw archetype, so it makes sense. Definitely use that gun. I like some of the hand cannons. The hand cannons do not feel as accurate as they feel in Destiny 1. That is something you will learn. I still think they're a great utility weapon, though, but I've been alternating between pulse rifle, hand cannon, pulse rifle, auto rifle, or I'll do scout rifle, auto rifle if I'm doing countdown and I want a little bit of a longer range weapon. Something I really want to point out is how important team shots and winning your one-on-ones and not engaging when your one-on-2, one-on-3 are in this version of Destiny, in this iteration. In Destiny 1, because of the prevalence of ways to one-shot kill someone and supers that you could activate as panic modes, there were a lot of ways for one person, although it wasn't recommended, and we talked about it, wasn't recommended to engage in 1v2, better players could pull it off. In this game, you'll basically die. Using cover is really the only way to successfully win one-on-twos because team shots are so vitally important in this game. Basically, if I see a one-on-two and I don't have cover, I just run. I go back and I find another teammate. I engage in a different direction. I don't even bother to press forward because those team shots are going to be dirty and you're going to go down because everybody's using a primary. You can't count on someone whiffing a sniper shot and then you taking out one guy and taking out the other. They're both going to be looking at you. They're both going to be shooting at you.
Yeah. Maybe another one of those basic tips I would reiterate is don't chase in this game because A, it's relatively easy, I think, for people to disengage, and B, you're pretty likely, especially on this small control map, to end up pushing yourself right into a 2 or a 3v1. And then, just like you said, you've taken out a quarter of your team because you put yourself in a bad situation.
And I know I've already made the top-down maps for one out of the two maps we have and one of the maps we're going to get, but really study those because map control is obscenely important in 4v4s. I was discussing this with Kutch before the recording started, but it is incredibly easy for a good team to spawn trap a bad team and just steamroll them the entire game. Our first day, we literally beat a team 45-1.
Oh my gosh.
45-1, because we immediately got mid control, we immediately got B control, and then we just sat there, and they continued to come to us. That was all they did. They just kept running to us through the choke points, through the choke points, through the choke points. On Endless Veil in particular, get mid control, get B control. You can even drop back a little bit. Just stop them from coming through mid and stop them from getting on to B, and every once in a while send a guy down low to check to make sure they're not trying to flank you. And it's basically over at that point in time. You've got two zones, they have to come to you. Avoid that temptation to run forward, or alternatively, if you want to play super aggressive, which I know a lot of players out there do, just swing back and forth through the middle, chase them from spawn to spawn, basically. I don't necessarily recommend playing that way, because you almost have to be, either your opponents have to be much worse so that they never get organized, or you have to be much better to successfully do that. But swing back and forth through the middle and basically force them to continually switch spawns and never let them get organized, never let them get set. And then you just continually capture whatever points on the other side, and you just flip them back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. That's what you'll see a lot of really great players out there play that play style. And it's not even necessarily that it's easier to take map control. I just think that aggressive play style very quickly instills bad habits. Really, really quickly. That's why I say you have to be a better player to do it, because the better players will realize when it's not the time to continue doing that, and they'll shy away from it.
I wanted to add a few things as well, kind of some game mode specific, just things that I observed while I was playing. You only need one person on a capture point, right? Like, it captures the same speed no matter what. So there's no reason for everybody to just sit on B. What you need to do, if one person is on the capture point, find an angle to support them. Like you said, Mercules, right? They want to look for map control. You don't sit on B. You find a new angle to guard B or to shoot people who are trying to take B. Or you find mid control rather than just B. And if you're sitting on a capture point and a blueberry comes and sits on the capture point next to you, leave. Like, you don't need to be there then. They're going to hold it down for you. It's very nice of them.
Let Randy take that capture point.
Yeah, let him do it. He wants it. It's, it's a team game. He's being a team player. He knows that you want to go out and get some kills.
If you've got two people looking into mid and two people looking onto B, or two people on B, one person in mid, one person low, any one of those combinations,
yeah,
you're going to own that map. It's going to make control so easy for you.
And if you find yourself trying to fight a strategy like that, one thing I wanted to kind of point out that I had a little bit of success with when I was, playing some losing matches, is that you can rotate capture points on this map, I think, more easily than on a lot of the control maps in Destiny 1.
It's extremely easy. If you basically run to the other side, the control points flip.
Yeah, I used low a lot in a losing match because... at a certain point, if the other team has B control and they have mid control, there's no reason to challenge them. There's no reason to go where they're strong, right? That's kind of, maybe basic military strategy, right? You don't fight the enemy where they're strong, you fight them where they're weak. It's harder for them to with only 4 people, it's harder for them to guard all 3 of those sections fully. So if you make a push through with a couple of teammates, you're going to get through.
That's pretty much, I think, a good summary of control so far. So have you gotten to play a decent amount of Countdown yet?
I only got to play one match, but it was really long. That's one thing I noticed about Countdown. This is a criticism, actually. I missed my chance earlier. Countdown has too many rounds.
The game type is so tactical and not at all forgiving of mistakes that a good team will basically wipe the floor with a not good team every single round. But I do have some strategies for you.
Awesome.
On Countdown, on Midtown specifically, when I'm on attack, I like to aggressively push rugs with all 4 people and plant as soon as possible. Because what most defending teams are going to do is split their forces between rugs and, what's the other one? Market.
Yeah.
And what that's going to do is give you a brief advantage where you outnumber them at rugs, and if you plant and get 1 kill, they then have to bring everyone over from market, and you can set up a defense position. Now you're no longer attacking, you're now defending. And rugs is a pretty easy spot to defend. On defense, I like to run 3 people to rugs, 1 to market. If the guy at market sees them pushing market, he does not engage unless it's just one person. Sometimes they'll send one person over there to feint to try to make some of the guys from Rugs drop. So if it's just one person, I like to have the guy at market engage. If it's any more than that, he drops back and calls us over there, and we send people over as he sees people coming up, right? But always send the majority of your force to Rugs if you can, because Rugs is the much easier spot to defend on defense. It's the much easier spot to defend if you're on attack and you get the plant there. Market is much harder to defend for the attackers, much easier to defend for the defenders. So try to commit the majority of your forces, in my opinion, to Rugs first. Try to get the plant there if you're on attack. If you're not on attack, still send the majority of your people there. Try to stop them from getting the plant. That's my strategy. It's worked out the majority of the time. The times we've lost, it's been because they sent all 4 people to Rugs, basically, when we were on attack. Or someone, probably me for the most part, got overly too aggressive, tried to do a 1v2, or had bad positioning and still tried to do a 1v1 and died. Times we've lost on defense, we split up 2-2, and we sent 2 to market, 2 to Rugs. They sent all 4 to Rugs, and we just got wiped because we weren't able to engage them. So we had to back out, wait for our backup to get there, and then they already had defensive positions with all 4 people around it. So that's my strategy. I don't know how much it'll help. Your mileage may vary, but the success we've had has been running that. And the high level gameplay I watched, it's been similar to that. They obviously have a lot more coherence and cohesion with each other than I do with the 4 people I picked off my friends list to go run Countdown with. But I think it's a sound strategy. That's pretty much all I've got for PvP tips and tricks. I mean, it's super basic, but we've only had a couple days to play. We've only had a couple weapons, not very much armor, not very much perks. We'll obviously have more when the full game releases, and probably even next week when we've played a little bit more. I plan on playing a lot of Countdown this weekend. I want to get a little bit sweaty in it, not crazy sweaty, but I do want to start putting on my try-hard panties. But
I had maybe just a couple final tips. Regarding grenades specifically, because people have been very upset about the cooldowns being relatively slow. To really use those grenades as a means to prime opponents during a push, right, or to punish opponents who are pushing you. So just remembering to use them tactically, because at this point they're a highly tactical tool. You're only going to get like 4 or 5 during a match, depending on how fast you use them when you get them. So you're almost better off not throwing them, even though you might get an extra grenade if you throw them as soon as you have them. I feel like because they don't do a ton of damage, and because you're only going to have either 4 or 5, it's better to make every grenade count. For something. And I feel like I've gotten a number of grenade kills, or a number of kills because I used a grenade. Whereas I've seen a lot of grenades getting thrown my way that weren't thrown very well, and I wonder if perhaps they got rushed.
And definitely use the pulse grenade too. The pulse grenade on the Striker Titan is really good, way better than it ever was in Destiny 1. It's like crazy.
That's really good to hear. I found that my Vortex grenade was a lot more effective on the Voidwalker than it is in Destiny 1. I haven't had a chance to really play with overcharging them yet, but from what I've seen gameplay, that Voidwalker's got some cool abilities.
It's kind of a weird, outlier a little bit in terms of those abilities. They're not abilities we've seen in Destiny before. They're kind of outlandish for what we have, but I like it. It's a new direction they're taking.
Oh, and Blink. I'd be remiss if I didn't say, Warlock floofing in general to me is painful right now. It's it's painfully slow. So Blink was very welcome.